So today we are joined by the big man, 6'6", the big man, Harry Souter. Harry, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks. Pleasure to be on. How are you?
Well, thank you for coming on. I'm great, thank you, mate. How's lockdown been treating you?
Yeah, it's been alright. I've been back up in Scotland, so I've got time to see the family and stuff that I wouldn't really have normally. I think I've spent more time there, ever since I was 15 when I left home. So that was good to be back for a bit of period, and obviously now after the first week of training, it's back to business.
Absolutely, and obviously pretty much 2 months off. How have you been coping and keeping fit, really, in this time?
Yeah, I think just what Kenzie said. Really, we've obviously been given a programme to try and tick over and just keep yourself fit. Obviously, we kind of knew that the vote was coming, and either way, we knew we'd be playing either the remaining games or the playoffs. So we knew we had something to work for and work towards. So a lot of lads have been keeping themselves fit, and obviously that's us back training now.
I bet it's great to be back, obviously, with the lads, and you can kind of recreate those memories and kind of get back in with your social bubbles, really.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's the one thing I missed during lockdown was just going in and seeing the lads. The laugh you have before training, after training. There's nothing quite like it. So no, it's good to see everyone again and get to see the smile on the boys' faces.
Exactly, and obviously back in training this week, how's it been? Obviously a lot different, obviously with you getting tested now and not being able to go into the changing rooms. I bet it's
Mhm.
difficult, but I bet it's better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's. I think everyone's buzzing to be back. Really, I think it was a long time since we worked together. I think it was before I think it was the Gillingham game that the game got postponed. So yeah, kind of the first week back was kind of been like a little mini kind of pre-season, you could call it, doing a bit of running here and there and just try to get the balls out as soon as possible because we've not got long until the first leg.
Obviously, going back into your career, obviously you started in Scotland, obviously the place that you're from. How was it growing up down there in Scotland playing football?
No, it was really good. From my school, you had obviously my older brother, Ewan Spark, Ryan Gold. They all went to Dun United and signed their apprenticeship forms, professional contracts. Before me, so obviously because they're a couple of years older, so it was something that I've always wanted to do, and seeing them doing it just made me want it more. So no, it was really good.
Obviously Dundee was your stepping stone, and you obviously you're a great player. And did you always kind of feel like you'd be able to make it at the highest level in Scotland when you were playing there?
Yeah, I think every young boy that goes up in Scotland wants to play in the highest division in Scotland. Obviously, when I broke through at Dun United towards the end of the season, the year I left, there was a group of us from the youth team that kind of was 5 or 6 of us that made our debuts the last 3 games of the season. So it was nice for all of us to kind of make our debuts and play together in the first team as we've done in the under 20s league a couple years in a row. So it was nice for us. And then like you said, I think that growing up, everyone wants to play at the highest level they can. So, for me, when I was 17, when I made my debut, it was a dream coming true.
Obviously, growing up, did you always want to be a footballer? Obviously, your brother is a footballer as well, and a very footballing family. Did you always kind of aspire to be that from like a young age, even through primary school and like high school?
Yeah, definitely. I think in primary school especially, it was kind of the only thing that our school really did was football. My dad took the team, my brother played. Um, we won a lot of tournaments, to be fair. We were just a small school, really, in a small league, Lithamere. But we had a really decent team. And yeah, ever since I was young, it was only football. There wasn't really much else I could do. Academically, I think my results will back up that I wasn't too smart at school. Enjoyed school though, but wasn't really too smart, and I always kind of had that in my head that this is what I want to do. So I'm just going to give everything I've got.
Did you always kind of have like a plan B? Because a lot of footballers you can see now that they don't really focus on the academic. I was listening to Jay Spear and he said he was only allowed to play football if he concentrated on his schoolwork. Did you always kind of have it, if I'm not going to be a footballer, I'm going to be this kind of stuff?
You know what? To be fair, mate, no. I remember in school there was a couple of teachers. Obviously, I remember telling my brother and me that you've got to have a plan B, you've got to have a plan B. But, touch wood, hopefully it's not come to it yet. It's something that I will look at towards, obviously I'm just starting my career, but something that I will look at to try and get in other avenues and other things. Because obviously there is other things outside football, but certainly in school I just knew that's what I wanted to do, and I was so driven to become a footballer and give it everything I've got.
Obviously, at kind of younger ages, you can kind of see which players are slightly better than others. Did you always feel like at your school you would thought, oh, I could be someone better than the others around me? No disrespect to them, of course, but you thought I could do this professionally one day, maybe?
I think so. I was always at Celtic Youth Academy until I was about 13, 14, and got let go then. I think I was 13 and I moved to Dundee United Youth Academy. Obviously, then when you get let go from a club, it's always kind of, oh no, what's going to happen next and things. And when I moved to Dundee United, at that age group, certainly there was far better players than me in the team. Technically, physically. Some players that aren't playing now at all. Really, I think there's only a couple of us still playing, but there's probably about 6 or 7 that you would say, yeah, he'll make a career in football just by the talent on him. Obviously, we know that talent only goes so far. You've got to work so hard for it. But yeah, I think you can look at a player when they're really young and say, yeah, he's got talent, he's got ability, but there's so much more in the game these days than just talent. I think that's why it's hard looking at younger players, especially now, and saying, yeah, they're going to have a career when there's just so many different things that can impact on a player growing up.
Obviously, like you said early in there, you've got obviously rejected, kind of let go by Celtic. How do you kind of go again? Like, how do you respond to that? Does that make you drive more? Did that kind of disappoint you?
No, of course it disappointed you. When it's your dream as a young footballer, to try and make the grade at whatever club you're at, and obviously to be let go isn't a nice feeling at all. But it's just kind of like, listen, well, it's done. There's nothing you can do about it. You can either sit and sulk or you can try and go again. And I always knew that Dundee United were on the cards. Obviously, my brother was there, and there was boys from school that were there that I knew. So I knew that was an option, and I took it straight away, and I've kind of never looked back since. So it's probably one of the best things moving to the club, especially with the coaches that they had at the time. David Bowman, who's been massive for me anyway. Stevie Campbell, Stephen Leahy, really good coaches that have helped me in my development.
Exactly, and at a young age to play Scottish football, it's a good achievement. How do you feel like you learned in those years between obviously Celtic and Dundee, leaving Dundee from leaving Celtic? Those years, how did you feel like you improved as a player?
I think all aspects. I think when you're 13, 14, 15 growing up, your body's changing all the time. I was still quite tall, but I was just so gangly. I probably looked quite funny to watch anyway when I was playing football. But as you grow up more, you start to fill out your body more. Gym work comes into it as well. You try to build up your strength. So it's just all into one, really. I was probably training more as well towards when I left school when I was 15 to go full time. You start training every day. You're getting your fitness up, and you're just working on everything really. So yeah, them first 2 years at Dundee United, when I got my apprenticeship form, were really, really big for me.
Obviously, Dundee was like a real kind of moment in your career where you said you improved. Obviously, Dundee came to an end. Where did you find out? Obviously, Stoke, they were interested for a long while in you. Where did you find out about that interest?
I kind of knew in the January that they were interested. I think they spoke to my agent at the time and just said want him to come down and train with us in that. But I don't think the manager at Dundee United at the time, I don't know what happened there, but it never happened anyway. So I always knew that they were interested. But as a young player, you don't really take any really notice of that. You just kind of, I hadn't even made my debut yet. So my main goal was just try try to make an appearance for Dundee United's first team, never mind Stoke's. So obviously when I played, when I made my debut and played a couple of games towards the back end of that season, and then you go away for the summer, you come back in for pre-season, and I think they had a couple of bids turned down early on in pre-season, and I kind of got told, listen, it's not going to happen. The chairman at Dundee United, she's rejecting it. It's not going to happen. So just carry on. So I just kind of got my head around it really. So it's not going to happen. Whatever. My main goal for this season is to try and break through into the United's first team. And then I think I was on the bench for the first couple of games of the season, and then another bid came in and they accepted it. Obviously, I spoke to the manager at the time, Ray McKinnon, and he just said, "Listen, look, it's a fantastic opportunity for you." And obviously, in my head, I spoke to different people about it, asked for their opinions, and it's probably one of the best things I did as well is coming down south so early. I know there's a thing in Scotland where a lot of people kind of have a view of young players make a couple of appearances in Scotland, go down south, and then they're never really heard of again. That didn't really cross my mind. I knew that if I go down south, I'll be the calibre of playing I'll be training with. And I kind of went down to Stoke and spoke to them and see what they had to offer for me, my pathway. And I took the chance, and it's one that's paid off so far.
It's weird for me, by the way, to see Stoke as south to Scotland, but obviously to Scotland it's very south. So,
Yeah.
No, but going to Stoke, obviously big club, obviously spent a lot of years in the Premier League and a great club, great fan base. How was it joining their kind of like academy with the calibre of players in the first team during those years? They've been fantastic over the years.
Yeah, I think that the year that I joined, they just finished ninth for 3 seasons in a row in the Premier League. So when I was 17 going down, I knew that I was never going to be anywhere near their first team. I knew that straight away. So obviously joined their 23s. And the first year, you were probably training with the first team maybe twice a week maybe. And even that, I remember the first training session when I went over, because the 23s trained on, first team had 2 pitches and the 23s had 2 pitches. I got called over to train because 23s went out a little bit earlier. And it was kind of like that. Have you ever seen Goal, the movie Goal, with Santiago Munez, and he's a Newcastle first team? It was kind of like that. I was just like, wow. Walking over and that, and all the boys are like kind of introducing themselves. Wheelo was one of them as well. And they're all introducing themselves. And I'm like, listen, you don't need to. I'm thinking in my head, you don't need to introduce yourselves. I know exactly who you all are.
They're researching you.
I was playing on FIFA and all that, like, you know what I mean. So, and the stand-up was just scary. I remember doing a little possession box as a warm-up, and I was in the middle the whole time, didn't get out once. And I was just thinking to myself, like, the standard is just so ridiculous that you don't even realise. But once you start training and getting up to speed, then you try and just do the best you can. And it was so good for me learning off, the boys like that, like Ryan Shawcross, who not just his football ability, but the way that he just conducts himself around the training ground as well. He's always the first in, the last out. He's always in the gym working. It's just little things like that you don't see from the outside.
In Stoke's team, there seems to be like a lot of leaders. Obviously, over the years, you've seen like Charlie Adam, Glenn Whelan, obviously really good players and good pros, Shawcross as well. They've had kind of those leaders come through in the past where that's been the spine of their team for many, many years, and why they've done so well in the Prem. So I bet you thought, like, learning off like Ryan Shawcross, who's a very good centre-back, I can learn a lot, not only as a player, but how I can conduct myself and how I can maybe diet myself, or maybe how I can kind of learn my game off you.
Yeah, 100%. I think the first thing that I kind of noticed down there that I had to change really was my diet. Obviously, my diet wasn't bad, but to get the fitness levels that these boys have got that are playing week in, week out in the Prem, I had to change, and that's one of the things that I changed, and I've never kind of looked back since. So yeah, no, it was so invaluable for me. People say you're going down there, you're just with the 23s, like you're never going to play. But I knew I was never going to play in the first team with the quality of players they had. But training for me at that level, and learning off those players was second to none.
Exactly, and playing a lot of under-23s football. Obviously, people think it's kind of like not quite men's football, but as a boy growing up, you always want to play in those types of games to develop yourself. Do those kind of games kind of help you develop into a player?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I had a little taste of first team football up in Scotland when I moved down. For the season, I was just playing 23s football, and for my first season coming down England, I was fine with it. Obviously, the standard when I was playing there was really high. You had a lot of first teamers playing against you from other clubs that didn't play in the weekend. They'd play in the 23s league, so it wasn't just young under 23s players. It was kind of like a reserve league. So for all of us coming through that academy, that 23s team, when we were playing against first teamers, it was always a boost to us, because we're like, yeah, we can kind of test ourselves today. Or when I was, there, and we seen the team sheet and it was a first team striker, I was like, yeah, let's go. Let's see how I get on today, and let's see how I handle it.
Obviously, you say about first team players, a lot of I'd see development squad in under 23s games now is you don't always seem to be getting 18, 19s. You seem to get kind of those coming back from injury, those needing fitness, which is a good test for those young men playing football against kind of the quality of those who are now in the first team. Does that kind of help you really get to grips with what men's football could be like?
Yeah, I think that it's kind of a mix and match. Some weeks you can be just playing, against your own age, and then some weeks you could be playing against a team with 5, 6 different first teamers. So it's up and down. But I had my first season there, especially in the 23s. I loved it. We've still got a group chat now with most of the boys that are in it. We went on holiday together. Still speak to this day. We're all at different clubs now, but we all keep in regular contact. So it was a really strong group, and I loved every minute of it.
Obviously, as kind of like in the under 23 squad, you seem to work to try and get into that first team. And obviously, you got a chance in the cup, wasn't it? How did you kind of find out that you're going to be thrown in for the cup game?
Yeah, I think it was against Rochdale actually, and I think it was the Carabao Cup at the time. That I think that because the first team were playing Saturday, there was a game on the Tuesday that he was going to rest a few players. So I was on the bench for it, and then obviously just the manager just told me to go and get warmed up, and came on for the last 30 minutes. So no, it was really enjoyable, and obviously playing alongside some players like Dan Fletcher and stuff, who was my hero growing up. It was kind of weird. So no, it was a really good experience. It's one that I'm still proud of this day.
Obviously, being at Stoke, still at Stoke, when did you kind of realise maybe I need to get kind of a loan spell to kind of develop myself?
It was when I came down. Obviously, the first year was just basically to play 23s football, and just get to grips with that. In the second year, first 6 months was well up until January, but always knew I kind of wanted to go out on loan in the January for 6 months, and obviously the call from Ross County came from Owen Coyle, and obviously I was kind of familiar to it. Obviously it was close to home and stuff, so it was a perfect first loan really. And yeah, I loved my time there. I knew a lot of the boys there. That was certainly different walking into a first team dressing room that were quite older than a 23s, but yeah, the lads there were great. I met some really good people there. Still speak to a couple of the boys, and yeah, it was good. It was playing men's football, and I absolutely loved it. Obviously, that we were bottom of the table when I joined. Unfortunately, I think we went down on the last day, but it was a time that I look back with fond memories.
And did that kind of give you the inkling, kind of obviously disappointing to go down, but did that kind of give you that kind of taste? Because you say when you get a taste of men's football, it kind of gets addictive and you just want more and more. Did that kind of say, I want more men's football now?
Yeah, I think so. I think that I think I played the last 13 games in a row, and I looked at it and said, listen, like I can't go back now and play 23s football. Like I want it this is me now starting out. It was kind of the first run of games of men's football I had, back to back, and obviously coming back in the summer to Stoke, it was the plan for me to go out on loan for the whole season to try and test myself. I think the manager, Garrett at the time, I think we had 3 centre halves, first teamer centre halves, and he wanted me to be like the kind of fourth choice. So, training every day with the first team, and kind of either being on the bench or being in the stand every week. And you know what, like in the summer when I came back, I thought no, I didn't really agree with it. I kind of wanted to go on loan, but because I was still young, I was thinking, listen, I've still got time on my hands. Like, it's not a bad situation I'm in. But when the January rolled around again, I was thinking, listen, this is the time I really need to get out and be playing men's football, because I've had a little taste of it, like you said, and I just want more of it.
Obviously, then January comes in and the loan move comes. Would you have a few options in January?
It was kind of the move to Fleetwood. I think it was kind of the second last day or something, and I wasn't too sure anything was going to happen really, because when you play men's football and you don't really do anything for 6 months, there's boys that have been out there and that have got more games than you that people tend to go for. So when I got the call from Fleetwood that they were interested, I just jumped on it straight away. I was absolutely went up on I think it was the Wednesday night to see Clint Hill and Eddie Jennings and speak to them, and then I signed the next day. Came back up and signed the next day, ready to go for the game against Charlton on the weekend.
Mental that, and obviously one thing that you see with Fleetwood, you look at Fleetwood's kind of history and fan base, and you look at the training ground, and you're wowzled by it. Like, it's a brilliant training ground. Did that you looked at that and you thought, this is a perfect place for me for 6 months. I can develop here with obviously Joey and Clint, who are very kind of. They will tell you like a million things, and you can just kind of believe it. Like, if he says you're gonna like be better than Messi, you kind of like believe it, because the kind of men they are and the kind of managers they are. And was that kind of an inkling why you came to the club?
Yeah, I think when I came, obviously on the Wednesday night to the training ground and seeing the facilities, it's like a Premier League facility. It's unbelievable to be in League One with that training ground. Obviously, I came in on Thursday and met the lads in the change room and stuff, and obviously introduced myself and that. And I think one of the first things was Paddy Madden offered me a game of darts. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to fit in. I'm going to fit in brilliantly here. So yeah, listen, the lads are great. I think obviously there's been a few changes from last season, but I settled in really well, and it was just another taste of men's football. Obviously, the gaffer's been great with me as well. He's kind of he's a person that's given me a chance in English football anyway. To let me go and play games, and Clint Hill, to learn off someone like that is so valuable to me that I've learnt so much off him. As a defender, just little things off the ball, your position, your body shape, little things that as a centre half growing up I never really thought about until I met him, obviously, and he's coached me, and I'm just trying to work on it and try to get better every day.
Obviously, when you join a new club, did you have to kind of sing a song in front of the lads?
Yeah, I think, what game was it? We had a couple. It was my first overnight game.
Well, because we had Charlton, Bradford, and then because we didn't kind of ever have a long one for a bit, did we?
Nah, I think it was Burton. I think it was, and it was me and who sang with me? I think it was Macca. Me and Macca sang. I sang. It was Palanatini. Jenny, Don't Be Hasty. That's kind of my go-to song. It's the only really song I know all the words, so I just sang that. But no, it was a good laugh. Obviously, it was a good. I kind of really knew all the boys anyway, because I've been in for 3 weeks. So, when you kind of join a new club, you kind of hopefully do it on your first weekend when everything's still a bit up in the air. So it was probably more awkward because I knew all the lads for 3 weeks and I was getting to know them. So, it went well. It went well anyway. Well, so they say.
Obviously, when you did, Sam, we got off to the perfect start against Charlton. And I remember that game as I think Charlton, in 2019, up and from January to May, they only lost once, and that was to Fleetwood. So it was a great win. And how was it that debut for you? Obviously, a 1-0 win at Highbury debut. Was it a good debut to make?
Yeah, of course. I think obviously the only day I'm trying to think the Thursday that I came in, it was snowing, so we couldn't train. And then the only session with the lads was on the Friday. And I knew Morgs was, I think he had something with his calf, so he wasn't available. So obviously the gaffer put me alongside Ash Easton. And yeah, it was a good debut. You can't really ask for more. A clean sheet and a win, 1-0 win. I think the last 15, 20 minutes was backs against the wall time, really. And me and Ash were just trying to clear everything that came our way. But no, like you said, it was a really good feeling. It was nice to get off to a good start.
And then obviously we kind of had a good season when you came in. I thought you fitted in really, really well. And obviously you got your goal against Accrington, your first goal for Fleetwood. How did that feel? Great header.
Yeah, it was good. What I remember at that game, the pitch was terrible, and there wasn't much football being played. And I think it got said at half time that, listen, I think there's a goal going to become, but it's going to be coming from a set piece. Just the way the game was playing out, it was windy. There wasn't much football being played, so no, it was really good. Obviously, I really wanted to score my first goal that season because I never got one for Ross County when I was there. So I was just thinking I'd love to score here. And obviously, it was a great ball from Roscoe, and all I had to really do was get my head on it, and that went into the back of the net. And it was good because I think that was probably one of the first games where we took a lot of travelling fans. So it was a good atmosphere anyway. The boys turned up.
Talking about the fans, obviously, have you heard your chant for you? Do you like it?
Yeah, I've heard it. I like it. It's funny when you're warming up or something and you can hear it. It gives you a little chuckle. It's not the worst. It's not the worst I've heard.
Do you drink the Fosters in the Buckfast?
No, during the season anyway.
No, end of the season.
We'll leave that to the summer. Yeah, we'll leave that to the summer.
No, but obviously Fleetwood fans, they always love you from day one. How have they been towards you? How have you kind of felt towards them?
Yeah, superb. I think they've taken to me straight away. I think they kind of know what player I am. I'm not really, although I do like to have the ball at my feet and play, when I can. I think the position that I play now, in the middle of the free, I kind of just, my first job is to defend, and give it to the boys that can play. So I think they know that. They recognise that, the effort that I put in, and it's really pleasing for me to obviously hear feedback that you're well liked, and it's really nice, obviously, because I don't think it would work out too well if they were on my back. So, no, like I said, it's really nice.
Is it, obviously you like getting it and giving it to those in front of you who can go and create. Joey did say in the documentary trailer, he said kind of all he liked to do was win the ball back and give it to someone else, and they can go and create. Do you kind of take inspiration from that?
Yeah, little bits. I think that in my position, certainly in the middle of the free, it's probably not the best place to step in and play when you've got Paul Coots right in front of you. That is probably the best. Well, I think the best on the ball midfielder in League One. So when you've got a player like that can make things happen, you just got to give him the ball. There's no point in me standing on it and dallying on it when a player like that's free in space. To the left of me, Lewis Gibson. To the right of me, Louis Coyle, who both like to step in. More so Louis Coyle, get advanced. Join in with play. So I've recognised that the best job for me is just to defend. Try and keep as many clean sheets as we can. Obviously, working with Kenzie or Billy or Jelksy, whoever's in goal, just to kind of marshal the back three or back five, and give it to the ones that ultimately are going to create some chances for us.
Exactly, like you perfectly said. Obviously, the season completed and we finished kind of mid-table, which was a good place finish for Fleetwood after kind of being in a relegation battle the season before. How do you kind of feel at the end of that season? Obviously, do you feel I need another season of this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when the season ended, obviously I had the suspension against Barnsley that arguably not really a red card.
Never.
You know, my eyes were always on the ball. Never looked at the man once. I think because of the size of me, it looked so much worse than it was. And then obviously I pick up the injury in training, so I missed the last 5 games. And it's obviously you kind of go from, oh, it's been a really good loan spell to, in my head, I'm disappointed to miss the last 5 games. So obviously going away that summer, and coming back to Stoke pre-season, my first thing was, listen, I want to go back to Fleetwood on loan. I think I made that pretty clear to the manager at Stoke at the time. And obviously nothing really happened for the first couple of weeks. And then I think when the opportunity was, he was going to allow me on loan again, and there was only one place that I wanted to come, and it was Fleetwood. And the deal got done, and I've been here.
Did it make it easy? Obviously, you've been here, and you knew the majority of the lads, and the lads who we didn't kind of bring that many lads in. You kind of knew the majority of the squad, so that made it easier for you, did it?
Yeah, 100%. I was obviously in contact with the management staff and Eddie Jennings over the summer. Just keeping on contact to what I was doing and stuff, and I was allowed out on loan. But like you said, obviously I knew all the lads anyway. And it was a great group of lads. It's one of the reasons why I came back. It's a change. I've not been in a change room like that before. I've loved it from the minute I came in. So there was only one place I wanted to come.
Obviously, you come back in, we have a decent pre-season, and we bring some great players in. Josh Morris, Paul Coots, for example. Louis Coyle comes in, obviously now signed permanently, which I think was a great bit of business. That summer, I think, kind of identified where we want to be as a football club, bringing, obviously, yourself in as well. And the squad just kind of strengthens Ched as well. How did you feel being in that environment? That's such a strong squad.
Yeah, I think that over the summer when I was seeing who was coming into the squad, I was just thinking like, I want to be part of that again. And obviously we have a good pre-season and stuff, and you're thinking with the squad we've got, hopefully we can be up there challenging. I think we had a good start, obviously, to the season, beating some good teams. And then we kind of, towards the kind of December, we just started to draw games. We weren't losing games, but we were just drawing games, and it was frustrating because I think we only lost 1 in 12, but we drew 9.
Yeah.
We lost 1 in 10, and drew 9. So it was just like, well, we're not losing, but we're not winning. So I think January was massive. Obviously, the players that we bring in January have kind of just strengthened the squad even more. And to go to that run that we were on. Obviously, before all this happened, was superb from us. And you can see, I think, that the whole squad really played their part in the games.
Obviously, I remember that you started well. You scored, didn't you, on your second kind of debut at Peterborough?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How was that to kind of get off the mark? And was that like a relief?
Yeah, it was good. I think that obviously you always want, even defenders, you always want to score goals. It's the best feeling you get on a football pitch is when you score a goal. So obviously to do it 4 minutes into the season was brilliant for me. Obviously it was a great win. We knew Peterborough were going to be strong this year. And obviously they were really strong. I think they tailed off towards the end, but they were top of the league at one point. So we knew they were a strong team, and we knew that was a great foundation, to build our season off of.
So going back onto that kind of run where we were drawing, what do you think kind of from that drawing to winning again? What do you think kind of changed from one kind of winning 12 or so on to unbeaten in 12 kind of thing?
I think it was just, I think we lost 1-0 away at Burton. I think that was probably the poorest we've played this season.
Yeah.
And obviously we all had a chat about it and stuff. And I just think from that moment that we decided it was either we were going to go on a run and try and challenge, or we're just going to be a mid-table side again. And none of us wanted to just be a mid-table side. We want to be challenging for promotion. So I think it's from that game that the lads just, you can see the tempos going up in training. And that's when we started picking up results. I think that the games that we had were all against kind of, you know, the big teams in the division. And I think we said, listen, after this little run of games, we're going to know where we are. We're either going to be up there and about it, or we're going to be mid-table. And obviously, thankfully, we were up there and about it because we managed to pick up some great results along the way.
Obviously, the first win back, Doncaster, you're known for your heading ability and scoring. Silky feet Souter into the bottom corner, 2-0. What was that kind of like to double the lead? Obviously, Doncaster are a good side as well.
Yeah, they were good, to be fair. It was probably more of a toe poke, really. An instant reaction that kind of went in the back of the net. So that was kind of the result that kind of kicked us on again. Obviously, it was nice to get my first goal at home in front of the home fans. So that was a pleasing moment for me. But yeah, like you said, since that game, that was kind of the start of the run that we went on.
Obviously, we beat some good teams in there, Wimbledon, Portsmouth at home, Peterborough. It was a kind of a real good run where it was kind of like, who's next? Wycombe, best home form in the league. Who's next? Peterborough, just won 6 in a row. Who's next? Portsmouth just won 9 at the last 10. And how was that kind of like just knocking one by one off? Was that kind of like, right, that one's done, on to the next one?
Yeah, I think at that stage of the season, I think you can only take it game by game. And we knew that the teams that we were playing were the best teams in the division every week, really. So, you know, we were just taking it game by game. And I think as a squad really started to believe, like, listen, we can do something really good this season. Like you said, the teams that you've just mentioned there, you know, are all up there. They're all challenging as well. So it was vital for us to pick up a load of points in that little group of games.
Obviously, in those 12, we played Sunderland away and we were 1-0. I thought we were fantastic, if I was honest. Defensively brilliant, and we frustrated them. How was it, obviously, conceding the 97th minute, 6 added? How was it kind of to get over that disappointment?
Yeah, it was gutting conceding, obviously, the late goal. I think every person will tell you the same. If they concede the last minute equaliser, it was virtually the last touch of the game. I think second half we defended well, but I think they were on top of us the whole second half. You know, when you think you've done enough, you think you've got the 3 points. You know, the last kick of the game. And to be fair to them, they never stopped. They never stopped going. They never stopped trying, and they got their draw. Yeah, it's disappointing, but like you said, you've got a game. I think it was a Tuesday night, but you've got a game on a Saturday, so you've got to just dust yourself down and go again, really. I think that's what we did. So, you know, credit to them to keep going, but we were that was a point picked up for us. It was another point on the road, and it was kept our unbeaten run going as well.
Again, brilliant point away from home against a good side who have been up there in previous years. And obviously we kind of, at least we stay unbeaten. Obviously the Tranmere game did get called off. And then to go to Ipswich, obviously in this run we go to a back 3. And you've just seemed to do really, really well. How do you feel in those back 3 now?
Yeah, like I said before, that playing in a back 3 with me in the middle and Gibbo and Coyley to the right of me, I think just everyone, the whole team really knows their job and knows what to do. I think it kind of suits everyone's game really more to them. I think that Gibbo and Coyley can step in knowing that whenever they step in, I'll be covering, and so will the wing back be covering. You know, it means Danny and Wes or whoever's playing it there, Coyley sometimes can play it there, can get forward more as well. And they've always got, you know, three men kind of defending. So, you know, it was a good team performance. That I think it was kind of a statement as well, saying, you know, they're a good side away from home. We're away from home, and we put it on their toes. You know, it was a really good 3 points.
Absolutely, and obviously in February you won the Young Player of the Month for the EFL. How was that to get recognised in that?
Yeah, it was nice, obviously, to get recognised, but you know, like I said in that interview as well, there was obviously Lewis Gibson, only 19 as well. He could have won the award, and it kind of went really to everyone. I think everyone kind of played their part, and obviously it's nice to get recognised. Nice to get recognised individually anyway for an award like that, but it means, you know, really nothing if you don't do anything towards this stage of the season.
Obviously now, the football has been kind of cut short at the moment. How have you been kind of keeping yourself busy? Obviously, we've seen that you like a bit of your snooker. Have you been doing a bit of that?
Yeah, well, obviously before lockdown, we actually had a really good snooker club. We Baz Mackay, Coyley, Biggo, Coetzee as well. Coetzee's just someone that's good at every sport he tries. Best at golf, best at snooker. He's just an all-round sportsman. But yeah, no, we had a really good snooker club. We'd go whenever we can to queues. But now, obviously, that everything was shut, obviously during the lockdown. So you just kind of try and just keep yourself moving, keep yourself ticking. Obviously, we got a wee program in that from Jimmy and Hugh to do, and just to try and keep ourselves ticking over and keep ourselves fit, ready to go.
For those kind of not knowing what a defender would have to do in these fitness programs, what kind of things as a defender will you have to do?
When we were off getting it, everyone kind of really got the same program. Sorry, pal. Everyone kind of really got the same program, and it was just kind of runs that you would do kind of in the game. There was a bit of long distance running, there was sprinting. It's just a kind of mix and match, really. Nothing kind of too specific. And obviously, when we get in training this weekend leading up to the games, there'll be more specific stuff that the defenders will be working on, the midfielders will be working on, the strikers will be working on. But in lockdown, there was nothing too specific. It was just kind of all just get your base fitness working.
Exactly, and obviously now you're back in training. We've got the playoffs to look forward to. How are you thinking about that?
No, pleased. Obviously, we've got the dates. Obviously, the Friday and Monday. That's what we're just working towards. I think Wycombe will be the same. So Portsmouth and Oxford. And obviously only two teams can go through. So we're going to try and make sure that one of them is us.
And obviously a great season for you personally. Obviously you want a promotion to go back on. Where do you want to go with your footballing career? Obviously, hopefully get back into this team at Stoke. I think you've earned your place at a higher level. Is that what you want to be? You just want to carry on growing and improving?
I think so. I think obviously I've still got 2 years left at Stoke. I think I'm going to have to. I think I'm at an age now where I'm going to have an honest chat with the gaffer at Stoke to see my future. I think that, and we'll just see what happens, and then we'll kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. But I just want to be playing football. If there's an opportunity to come back to Fleetwood next year, I'd jump at the chance again. Hopefully that'll be in the Championship. But if it's League One, then I'd love to come back again. But we've just got to see what's happening in the summer. There's a bit of football to be played, and yeah, we'll just see what happens.
Well, I'm going to write a letter to Martin O'Neill. So he has to release you. You're rubbish, and you don't deserve to be anywhere near the Stoke team. And you signed for us. No, but overlooking back at your 18 months at Fleetwood, obviously Joey came. What do you think kind of is changing you as a person, as a player as well?
I just think this season there's been a little bit more responsibility on me as a player in the middle of the back three. Obviously, last year we're playing with Ash, the captain. He was a real leader. He was massive for me. He was so good to learn off of. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves really for what he done. We're not playing with him was great. But this season, I think, obviously playing with Gibbo, I'm a little bit older than him. I think I just take a little bit more responsibility for the back four really, and I just try to become more of a leader on the pitch, and just kind of everything really. My all-round game. You just try to improve every day. Obviously, like I said, working with Hilly, every day in the back four stuff. You just try to improve every aspect of your game because no one's perfect. People are always going to make mistakes, but you're just there to improve and there to do the best you can.
So, Harry, you've come up against some great strikers in League One. Lyle Taylor at Charlton is a very good striker, scored a lot of goals there. Armin Nanule, big, powerful striker. However, there's a lot more good strikers in League One who have kind of moved on as well. Anyone that kind of takes your fancy that you found tough to mark in League One for Fleetwood?
Yeah, definitely. I think last season, Tom Eaves for Gillingham, obviously he's moved on to the Championship now with Hull. But before the game, obviously, I knew what I was going to get into, and it was just a battle for 90 minutes, really. I think he scored as well towards the end of the game. He kind of peeled to the back post, but no, it was just a physical encounter. I think the first ball we went up for, I think we've elbowed each other in the head. So that was kind of this is what this game's going to be about. But no, I really enjoyed it. But for me, he was probably the most physical and the most toughest player I played against, certainly in League One.
Well, Tommy's now going on to the Championship and doing quite well there. Had a great season with Hull, scored a few goals. Does that kind of make you feel, if I can help Mark Tommy's, I could go on to the Championship, because he's a very good player. What he did for Gillingham over the years, he's done superb. So if you can deal with him, maybe you can take that next step and play at a higher level, possibly.
Hopefully, I think everyone playing at League One level and League Two level as well. Obviously, everyone dreams to play at the highest level they can possible. Obviously, for it would be great to one day play in the Championship. There's so many good players in League One that I think can make the step up. You can go through all the teams and you can name so many boys in every team that you'd say, yeah, he play in the Champ. So no, obviously it would be a dream to play at that level. But obviously we're still in League One at the moment. We've got games to put us there. So if we concentrate on these 3 games at hand first, then hopefully we'll be there next season.
So going on to that, how has Joey and Clint kind of got you ready for this occasion? Obviously, it's been very different, because when you go into the playoffs, you finish the season and a week later you're playing in a playoff. We've not played any football for almost 3 months, and there's been kind of no games to kind of get your fitness up. How have they kind of got you prepared to make sure you're at the absolute peak you can be for Wickham in 2.5 weeks' time?
Yeah, obviously I think we've been back for a couple of days now. Obviously we've had a lot of weeks off, 3 months I think off, but we've been ticking over, like I've said previously. It's kind of been a little bit of mini pre-season with the balls as well. And obviously, like you said, we've got I think 3 and a bit weeks till the game. I think closer the game gets, the more we'll do a bit of team shape in that. But I think just now it's just about getting the lads up to speed. Everyone's came back in good condition, and it's really good to see all the lads smiling and positive again, like how it was before.
Absolutely, and obviously some great lads in the Fleetwood team. But throughout your career, only a young player, you've played obviously Dundee, Australia, Stoke, Fleetwood. If you had to pick an 11, an all-time 11 that you've played with, including yourself along the back, who would you go for?
Okay, so I think in goal, it's a tough one. It's between my good mate Jordan Holmes, who I got on really, really well with. I met him at my first under 23 camp. Just gelled him straight away. He's a great lad. And obviously Kenzie, who I've known now for about 18 months at Fleetwood. Just purely because I played more games with Kenzie and I think he's a terrific goalie. I'm going to go with Kenzie in goal. Right back for me, Louis Coyle straight away.
Fantastic.
Great player, great golfer, great guy as well. To be fair, he's just one of these guys that's good at everything. He's an all-round sportsman. He can play darts, he can play pool, snooker, golf, football.
Better than you.
Got his locker. Yeah, well, and everything really. Yeah.
Apart from snooker.
No, he's actually. To be fair, the snooker club that we did have, he joined a wee bit later, and I didn't think he would actually be that good, but he was actually very good. So fair play to him. So then, in centre half of me, I'm going to go my big mate Ryan Sweeney from Mansfield.
Yeah.
I was with him at Stoke. We kind of joined the same time. He's just a great guy, good player, physical, and no, get on really well with him. So Ryan Sweeney's my partner. I'm going to say left back, Danny Andrew. Great left foot, can take set pieces, gets up and down the line, puts great deliveries in, and is a good defender as well. I think he's an underrated defender. There's not many people that past him, which I say for centre half is really good for us boys in the middle, and because the less crosses coming better. So yeah, Danny Andrews on the left back, and then 3 in midfield. I'm going to go sitting, for obvious reasons, a great player. I could go on and say so much about him, but I think everyone knows how good a player he is. And the two in front of him, we're going to play 4-3-3. I'll put Charlie Adam and Darren Fletcher in. Obviously, with my time at Stoke, and them both. Charlie was there when I first came down, who was unbelievable with me. Obviously, a young lad coming down. Obviously, he kind of grew up where I did my youth. My youth team in Dundee. So when I went down there to start with, obviously great players, played at unbelievable level as well on that left foot. So yeah, no, I can't speak highly enough of him, what he's done for me, and obviously Dan Fletcher. Again, I don't really need to say anything about him. His career speaks volumes. You know, he's my hero growing up. Just an unbelievable player. And again, obviously joined at Stoke when a wee bit later on. But was unbelievable to not just me but all young lads as well. You know, giving us advice and stuff, and just everyone had that ultimate respect from, you know, when he spoke. You know, when we just list stories and that. It's the same with Chaz as well, to be fair, because all the young lads coming through just had ultimate respect for them. So, and then my front three, it's not the tallest of front threes, to be fair. We've got Barry Mackay on the left. Great player, as you know. He's living next door to me just now. You know, just a great guy. Share a little carpool into training every day. Could probably work on his snooker and his darts and his golf, to be fair. He's lucky he's good at football. So I'm going to put Baz left wing forward. Down the middle, I'm going to put probably the smallest striker in the EFL, Dom Telford. Promotion specialist with Bury and obviously now Plymouth as well. Just a great guy. Scores goals for fun. Was it obviously at Stoke with me as well. Just a great lad who's always smiling. You know, I've never seen him upset. He's coming to train every day and he's just putting a smile on everyone's face as he's always up to something. Great guy. Although his haircut now, I'm not too sure if it suits him or not. And then on the right wing / forward, I'm going to go Tyrese Campbell. Obviously been with him at Stoke as well now for a long time, and obviously he's pushed on from playing at Shrewsbury last year in League One to now make the step in the Championship this year. You know, I think he scored a lot of goals this year, and he's so, you know, powerful and physical, so quick, and obviously he knows where the goal is as well. Obviously he's got a really good technical ability as well. You know, whenever in training, when we used to train together, I just used to hate playing against him because I mean, you just knew he was going to run in behind, and when he gets going and when he opens his leg, he's strong. He'll hold you off as well. So he's a really good striker. So that's my 1 to 11.
Just to confirm, it was Paul Coots, because I think it might have gone off. It was Paul Coots alongside Charlie Adam and Darren Fletcher, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was my midfield three, yeah.
Absolutely. It's a great midfield three. You've got experience, you've got a great passing ability in Charlie and Paul Coots. And then obviously Darren Fletcher's just like a leader, games for fun and runs everywhere. And then obviously your defenders, you've got Coyle and Danny Andrew overlapping on the wings. Obviously, the goalkeeper, Jordan Holmes, he mentioned you in his team. It's 11. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, that's nice from Jordan. You'll probably text me after this. I'll be listening and say why I'm not in your team, but at least I give him a wee mention anyway.
Absolutely. But so out of them, you've enjoyed playing with most of them, well, all of them. That's why they're in your team, of course. But obviously, different reasons are in. Dominic Telford, great striker. Barry Mackay, a magician. What a pair! Like, what a pair of wingers as well to have on the sides. And then Darren Fletcher really helped you growing up development. Is that kind of why you put those 11 in?
I think so, yeah. I think they all kind of, not only all good players, but they've all, done something for me, and I've made a connection with them, or, you know, they've given me little bits of advice in my career.
Absolutely. So you mentioned FIFA before. Have you got your FIFA card, the team of the week?
Yeah, I have actually. I got it. I got it. I got it. To be fair, I think it was an update or something before. So when I had to, flew back from the camp, I think the first thing I did was try and pack myself first of all, but I waited a few FIFA points and then I just decided to buy myself in the store. So I was pretty cheap, to be fair. So it didn't cost me
30k,
much.
30k on
Yeah, I think it's
FIFA,
the
extinct.
cheapest in form ever.
And
Cheapest in form ever, I think.
but I think the defending physicality is off a bit. I think it should be 99. But were you happy with your stats?
Well, yeah. Well, I get this other thing. I get I got a lot of grief from my past year. I think I've got 38 or something pace or 40 pace, which I think that's a bit harsh. I think I should be in the 50s or 60s at least. I don't think I'm a 40 pace man.
That is.
But no, it's a good laugh in it really. So if it makes people chuckle, then be it then.
Absolutely. So going on to Fleetwood now, just a few questions on your teammates. Who would you say is the quickest at Fleetwood? I know a lot of players will want this. I know Barry Mackay's quite quick. Obviously, Louis quite quick. Wes Burns, very, very quick as well. Who would you say is the quickest at the club?
Place at the club, hands down, Wes Burns.
Yeah.
Wes Burns. The guy is frightening. Frighteningly quick. You could put anything in behind and even if it looks like a lost ball, he's gonna make something out for a throw in because he's sprinted to press. Or even at Souttar, he turns bad balls into good balls. So yeah, definitely Wes Burns.
Who would you say has got the best banter in the changing room? Who would you say is the comedian?
There's a few funny guys in the changing room, to be fair. Everyone's kind of got their own little, type of humour. But for me,
You up there?
Probably not. I just laugh. For me, the funniest person, I'd say Coyley or Coetzee for me.
Yeah.
I think there was a stage last season where Coyley just couldn't beat Coetzee at darts every day, and he used to get so annoyed. So Coetzee's got my type of humour. Whatever he says, he makes the boys chuckle.
Is there any kind of bad banter in the changing room? That kind of thing? You just think dad jokes all the way?
Barry Mackay.
Really?
Barry Mackay, yeah, with the dad jokes. He's getting better.
Getting better. Obviously, being around a lot of good influences, you'd hope he'd get better. Any good pranksters in the changing room? Obviously, we love a good football prank in the changing room.
Yeah. I won't tell you what they've been, but there's a guy that keeps popping up again. It's Coyley again.
He's a little rebel, isn't he?
Eh? Coyley likes a little prank. It's mostly on Cairnsey. Cairnsey's the brunt of his pranks because they sit next to each other. But yeah, no, Coyley, I'd say.
What about, obviously, at clubs you get kind of dress sense? Footballers don't always seem to have the best dress sense. Any bad dress sense in the changing room?
I'd probably say, maybe a bit harsh on myself, but I'd probably say me. Terrible. I don't really like to make a fuss, so I'll just come in if it's cold. I'll still be wearing little joggy shorts or little joggers that don't fit me or tops. I don't really try to impress that much. Paddy Madden's also got a couple of poor joggers and tracksuits I've seen. So yeah, I'd say Paddy or me.
What about best dressed? Obviously, some go out of the way just to look like a fashion icon in the Premier League, of course. But anyone at Fleetwood that tries to model themselves as the best dressed?
Kyle Dempsey, definitely.
Does he like good picture? Does Kyle?
I sit beside him and he always comes in immaculate,
Yeah.
always matching colours. I like to actually look forward to seeing what he's got on in the morning. Obviously compared to me, who just looks a lot. So no, I'd say Kyle.
And finally, on you, any superstitions for you that kind of you might have to put your right boot on first or your left boot on first or this stock on first? Any superstitions for you, or do you not really have any?
No, I think a few. I had a few when I was younger and stuff, but as soon about putting your right boot on before your left, your right shin guard. But I just as I got older and I started playing more games, I just realised every game's different, and whatever happens. Doing something before it anyway in my head isn't going to change that. Obviously, I know boys are different, and boys have got their own little rituals, their own little superstitions, and good luck to them with that. If that what makes them, well, or makes them think of somewhere they're playing. But for me, anyway, no, I don't have any. No.
On to the final two now. So you've played a lot of games for Fleetwood while you've been here. Been really, really good loan spell for you. Is there a moment that stands out for you? Your debut possibly, or the 12-game unbeaten run where we won 6 of the games, playing at the Stadium of Light. It's a great moment. Fratton Park as well. Any big moments that stand out for you as your favourite?
Yeah, obviously I love my debut. Just because they were flying high in the league at that time, and I just trained on the Friday before. And then obviously to keep the clean sheet, it was a good defensive performance from the back four in Kenzie. And to be fair, the whole team really. I think obviously my goal at Accrington as well on a selfish level. That's probably my favourite, just because it was my first goal for the club, and it was a 1-0 win as well. We kept the clean sheet. So I'd say them two are my favourite times. Yeah.
Going away from football now. So this is just a question that I've asked a lot of people who's come on here. Does a pineapple belong on a pizza? Because I've heard it so many times that it does. I don't think it does. What about you?
No, definitely not. That's a no
Bravo,
from me.
mate.
That's a no from me.
It's a fruit. Like Andy Robertson said, it's a fruit, belongs nowhere near it. Well, Harry, thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully we can get a promotion with Fleetwood, and hopefully you can sign a permanent deal, eh? So that'd be brilliant.
Perfect,
But thank
mate.
you for joining
Thank you
me,
very
mate.
much, mate.